And the contract, I had written it up myself, so it probably held zero weight in the legal
They
world.
didn't teach you that in music school,
No,
did they?
they didn't. It's not part of the waiter,
You're right.
the curriculum. So there's
Music
not a
school
spot
where you
where
get no business sense whatsoever. Come on.
right, exactly. I mean, I know how to upgrade your potato chips, to French fries and upsell, but I don't know how to write a contract. But I did. I wrote the contract. We didn't sign it. And it was years later that he started his own business. And
Dick started his
Dick
own.
started his own business. And you know what? What a great lesson for me.
Welcome to the Small Business Safari, where I help guide you to avoid those traps, pitfalls, and dangers that lurk when navigating the wild world of small business ownership. I'll share those gold nuggets of information and invite guests to help accelerate your ascent to that mountaintop of success. It's a jungle out there, and I want to help you traverse through the levels of owning your own business that can get you bogged down and distract you from hitting your own personal and professional goals. So strap in, adventure team, and let's take a ride through the safari and get you to the mountaintop. Oh boy, Alan, we got to get going again. I got feeling the music. I'm feeling the love. I'm like, I got to get giggity, giggity, giggity going. I got to get going, going, going. Everybody, do you love music? I love music. You know what? I think music actually gets my vibe going to where I want to go. Like if I'm doing a lot of work, I put some music on in the background, and I like to do the blues. I'll even do a little pop. I like to go all around it. But
You're
I work out.
70s big hair rock, though.
I am so I'm 70s classic rock, but I am a closet now, out of the closet hairband fan. Yes, I like all the hairbands. I mean, I'm talking Slaughter, White Lion. I mean, I could start Danger, Danger. People are like, "Do what?" I'm like,
They all
I'm not.
had menacing names.
Yeah,
Poison, Rat,
Poison, Rat.
Scorpions.
All of my Scorps were my favorite. First Peachy. Back in the day out in the West Coast, they called them Peachies, not folders.
Oh yeah, I had
Remember that?
peaches. Yeah,
Yeah,
with the athletic,
yeah.
the
So I
basketball
used,
players from like
so I
the
scratched out the
peach
Scorp
basket
on my
days.
Peachy baby. So, um, so we could go on and on about music, but music sets the vibe, sets the tone for a lot of people, and they like it. And you guys are listening to this, go, man, where the hell is he going? Well, if you could make
That's what
money,
they always say
they
when
do
they're
always,
listening to you.
they always do say that. But here's where I'm going.
That's why
You
I'm
know what?
here to help you land the plane.
Did you ever want to be a rock star?
No,
Okay, me neither.
no, but I've always wanted to be able to just be in a band, maybe play the bass and just jam. I think the idea of just jamming with your buddies is
Oh, well,
maybe one of the greatest things you could ever do.
I am trying to learn how to play the guitar again. I've had a lot of false attempts, but I've always wanted to play like Stevie Ray Vaughan. Now that's my favorite. And if you have to pick one for me, it's Stevie Ray Vaughan all day
Hmm.
long. I mean, I got to see him in person. He was clean when he was playing, and man, he just killed. And he opened for Joe Cocker, who was even better. Oh, Joe Cocker back in the day. What a lot of fun. But what are we talking about here? Well, how do you make money in the music business?
You can't.
You can't. It's impossible. Ah,
Totally. It's a labor of love.
oh, contraire, my friends. I have Jay
Really?
Maurice on from Lessons in
Speaking
Your Home.
French.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's Maurice. Jay Maurice. Oh, contraire, my friends.
It's actually an Italian last name, believe it or not. I know it sounds French, but in Sicily, which is where some of my people are from, you do see the word Maurice quite a bunch around the island. So
And
I
we
went to Sicily, and I sure enough
and we get to
confirmed
bond
it.
again.
Absolutely.
You got
I
a
am
little Paisan thing going on
and I am
here.
Siciliano as well. So all of
do
my
it.
family was from the mountains of Sicily. And people always, I remember asking my grandmother once, Grandma, are we in the mafia? No, absolutely not. And I found out exactly what that meant. So if you watch Goodfellas, you know there are made men and then there are the guys that they pushed around all over the place. And so my grandfather made a very good living running his own business. And my great uncle ran a very good business running the food trucks. But I'm just saying, I don't know how many sandwiches he sold. I don't know. It was hard to tell. But back to this. So we have Jay Maurice, the Sicilian, who got and made it in music. Jay, welcome to the show. Can't wait to
Cheers.
start talking about your story,
Little
brother.
glass
Thank
of
you guys
bourbon
for
in
having
person.
me. I'm super excited.
Jay, hell yeah, man. All right, let's rock this. So, Jay, what is the business you have today?
The business I have today is called Lessons in Your Home. And one way to make money in the music industry is to teach it. And so we've been teaching private music lessons since 1997 now, going on 28 years.
Wow, 28 years.
So you yourself are teaching?
Alan, back in the day, I was a teacher, so I haven't taught in about 16 or 17 years. But I started out as a teacher myself, and I started out wanting to be a rock star, like you guys were talking about. That's exactly how I got into this thing, to be a rock star.
So, what kind of rock star were you going to be?
At the time, I was playing music professionally. It was kind of the alternative Dave Matthews kind of era there. And I was kind of into that singer-songwriter, but rock band kind of thing. So I'd say alternative rock. And used to play all the clubs here in Atlanta back in the mid to late 90s. And had a good time doing it. I had hair, and I really did want to be a rock star, even
love
though I
it.
didn't
And
succeed.
then it just falls out and it destroys your dream.
It
Yeah,
does.
But I'm wondering if I put a little more bourbon in his glass, do you think we can get him to sing a little something?
So what was your instrument, or how many instruments could you play?
I am a piano player, so I played keyboards. I did some singing, but probably won't be singing today for you guys. But
challenge accepted.
yeah,
right,
the
my
bourbon
friends.
could get me speaking, it could get me singing, but primarily a keyboard player. I play a little guitar, but not really professionally. And yeah, that's what I did.
So you're going for the rock star dream. So I also love the movie Mr. Holland's Opus, and remember this story. The story was Richard Dreyfuss was going to be a rock star
yeah.
and had to take a temporary gig as a teacher in a high school, and then fast forward he retires from that school, and they all celebrate him, and he makes this amazing impact in people's lives. I cry like a baby at that one every time.
I
So
haven't seen that in a while. That is a good one.
it is a great,
It was a
feel-good
good
story,
movie.
and it really tells you that your impact. You don't have to be a rock star to make a huge impact on people.
That's correct. I'll tell you a funny story about Mr. Holland's Opus. My mother, I was a kid when that movie came out, and my mother wanted me to watch that movie. And we're talking about Italian families, right? So I watched that movie, and I'm watching it with my family. I think my mother, my father, my sisters are there. And the movie ends. It was a good movie, right? It was great. He made an amazing impact on all these people's lives, and a really great story. But my sister gets so pissed off because my mother showed this movie to me. And she goes, "Your son wants to hit it big in the music business, and you're showing him how to be a music teacher. You're killing his dream." All these Italian women protecting my son, my son, even though I was her brother.
Yeah.
And that was the story on that one. So my sister got in a huge fight with my mom about showing me that movie, Mr. Holland's Opus. She didn't want to spoil my dream of becoming a rock star. And I was probably 15 or 16 at the time, maybe even 14 when that movie came out, and had just started kind of playing and started getting into bands and that kind of thing. But it's terrific music, and we do make a lot of impact on people's lives through teaching. And it's a fantastic part of what I do. It's really what I love.
So talk a little bit about what you have today in the empire that is Lessons in Your Home.
Well, I will. Thank you so much for that invitation to do so. We teach about 4,500 music lessons every single week throughout the United States.
Yeah, it is coast to coast. I was on your website and I saw Seattle and DC.
All the way from Miami to Seattle. We're up in DC and
So
Baltimore.
Are you kind of the Uber of music lessons?
I was Uber before we knew the word Uber. I wish
Really?
I would have understood the Uber concept I was developing back in the day. Probably could be much bigger than we are today. But we work with about 500 music teachers on our team each and every week, teaching about 4,500 lessons across the country. And we do that through 9 major metro areas. We even teach a lot of virtual lessons. So we are teaching really almost worldwide, especially during the pandemic.
So if you're in the sticks and you're not actually physically there, you can do a virtual lesson.
We can. There's not a lot of huge call for that, believe it or not. It's not a
People in the
successful
sticks
venture.
aren't musical people.
People are not super interested, at least my student base aren't super interested in taking virtually.
Is he being like, so like there's ageism, right? You're picking on old people.
I
Is he
am.
he's picking people who likes the country? He's
Hickism.
countryism. He's
Hickism.
hickism. Man, Jay, who I did not pick you as a racist, Jay. Oh my
I
God.
try.
All right. Well, we bring everybody on here. We open it up to everybody. You can send hate mail to chris@thetrustedtoolbox.com and I'll get it to Jay Maurice. And I'll let him know about that because he is picking on you country folk.
So I also saw you had a cool little video on your website.
Oh, yeah.
The little animation one. And, instead of the totalitarian slap your wrist and scream at you and practice, it kind of sounded like you're going to have fun with these lessons. So are you looking for a certain style of teacher?
We are. So first of all, we travel to your house, right? So our teachers are driving from home to home to home. And that old nun that used to rap us with the ruler when we were taking our piano lessons, she doesn't like to drive that much, especially in traffic. So we are primarily, we have teachers of all ages. We're not ageist, but primarily our teachers.
So he has some standards, apparently.
Clearly. All right. Fine. Good.
But our teachers are, I would say, primarily on the younger age range, probably from 24 to 35, who are willing to drive from house to house to teach amazing kids. And we really target market our kids, students, ages 3 to 12. We teach a lot of lessons in that category.
So I
Now
guess
we
I'm
teach
out of that one.
74-year-olds, 75-year-olds. Chris, we would teach somebody as old as you are. I guarantee it. We'd come to the house here. We're sitting at the studio, and we can definitely bring somebody to your studio to teach you guitar. Get that dream alive is what I'm talking about.
Oh, I think I'm getting sold right now on the podcast.
Let's do
everybody.
it.
All right. Look at that. He's selling on the podcast right to me. Now that's what you call an opportunist. I like that. So Jay, let's go back to how you got this thing started. Were you you were doing your thing, you were on the bus, you're driving around, you're doing gig after gig. Did you have a corporate job that was feeding the income? Or are you saying, I'm doing this, I'm making it happen?
Guys, when you have a degree in music, when they give you your diploma, they also give you an apron and a notepad to take orders at restaurants. So I was
You
working
want fries with that?
exactly right. They should have a class on how to be a waiter while you're at music college, because that's what you will do when you graduate school with a music degree. And that's what I was doing. So I was playing gigs, Chris, but I wasn't making any money because it was original music. And I was waiting tables on the side. I was actually waiting tables playing
original
on the side.
music sound like?
Oh, we're going to have to do that. Do you guys think this?
You know what? We'll have to get some deets in there and we'll play it out on this. All right, but so so the Italian family said, "Hey Jay, you go off and go get a music degree, and then we're going to pay for that."
Well, no, they didn't pay for it.
Oh, okay.
We were dead broke. So we were that Italian family that got pushed around by the mafia.
There you go.
Exactly. My mother didn't want us to watch Goodfellas because it made Italians look bad. Okay, that's where we come from.
Yeah.
So we were probably running from your uncle selling those sandwiches on the truck.
Hey, no, you wouldn't run for him, but you go to him and see if you could run some numbers. I mean, allegedly.
Play the numbers. That's exactly right. So I'm waiting tables, playing gigs, and an old friend of mine calls up and literally forces me to teach these.
What do you mean he forced you?
Well, it was a female, and I owed her a favor. You know where this is going?
Thickens.
Yeah.
No,
we know
I'd
how
like to
that
know where it
happens.
came.
Behind every great idea is a favor that needs to be paid.
Seems to be a theme developing here, Chris.
So she tells me that I have to go teach these two kids. I tell her I'm not a teacher, never wanted to be a teacher, didn't plan on teaching, wasn't in my interest level. But she was a nice friend of mine, and I agreed to go teach these two kids piano. The two children were children of two dentists, and within a couple of weeks, I was teaching the whole block. Like they had spread the word. I really love teaching these kids. In fact, I still know them today. My first student and his sister, one's a dentist, one's a pretty successful writer, and they are doing very well in life. And I started teaching all the kids on this block in a very short period of time, stopped waiting tables on that particular day of the week. And then within a very short period of time, also had a full studio. I get what you call it as a music teacher. You call it a studio. My studio was full. I was teaching. I quit the restaurant and had a waiting list of students. I'm teaching piano lessons because that's all I'm really qualified to teach. And I decide that this business is going to be called Lessons in Your Home. That's the beginning.
So that's the beginning. And that
Yes.
was in 1990.
1997.
Right. That's when you started Lessons in Your Home. And so now I'm going to do another movie reference. He is literally Jack Black in School of Rock. He is bringing the house down because I don't know what it was like then, but you're right. In the 70s and early 80s, when I was forced to have to do music lessons, and one of them was piano. I had Mary come over and teach me. And what do we do? Dun 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 dun. I mean, I'm not having fun. So did you make it fun then? Did you start to see an angle then? Is that, or were you going, hey, I'm classically trained musician. I'm going to teach you the way I was taught.
Whenever you ask him a question, the look on his face as he's thinking about the
Guys,
answers, like which one should I tell him?
I know.
It's really funny.
I mean, I'm telling you, this is the guy, guys, this might be the one. You might have to go on YouTube and listen, but then every once in a while, because his facial expressions are priceless.
I want to know what he's thinking before he actually tells us what he chooses to tell us.
I'm thinking that you guys are a really good time. Like I'm really enjoying talking to you. And we spoke before we started the podcast and I was really excited about it. So I'm like, yeah, what story do I want to go with? And I also want to be real. So I am classically trained, and it's what I
Right.
did. But what Lessons in Your Home is about, and what it was about back then, even though I wasn't smart enough to realize it, it wasn't about the particular kind of music that I was teaching to the children. It was about the relationship that I was having with my students. And that relationship is extremely valuable. Coming from a large family, I love kids, like it's kind of like your cousins and your older cousin comes and grabs you by the head, he gives you a noogie and you banter with your cousins all the time. And so I didn't know what I was doing, but I was just kind of being a family member to these families that I was working with. And at the same time, I became part of their families as well. So that just like was so exciting. My network of family members, my network of community members, my people, they were just great. I mean, I can't tell you that when I run into one of these families now that I taught 27 years ago, the hug is like you're seeing an aunt or an uncle or a lost cousin, that you haven't seen in a while. And that's what it feels like. It's a fantastic feeling. So it would be great if it was the music and I was teaching them how to play AC/DC, which we did all sorts of fun stuff, but we also learned how to play, Bach and Mozart and some jazz as well, maybe some Stevie Ray Vaughan. But it was really about the relationship, the way we talk to children, the way that, and it's not children because we do teach adults as well. And I did teach plenty of adults. It's about the way that you speak to people and about the way you care about people. And so I think the music is number two. It's number two, actually, on the success level. The first one is the relationship we form.
That's a great point that everybody needs to file away a little bit. Again, back to Simon Sinek, everybody loves to quote this. What's your why? Your why in 97 was, my why was, I don't want to freaking wait tables anymore. I just want to make it big as a rock star. And if these guys can help me and I can build my rock star on the backs of children and just claw my way up, that's my
That's
why.
not a very altruistic why, Chris.
Well,
I swear to God.
I'm projecting my why on
such
Jay.
a Machiavellian creature.
Well, hey, let me tell you my why when I first got started. I would do anything
I
to
know.
anybody at
I
any
know.
time. As a
Big
handyman,
whore.
brother.
I
would
think
do
it's the
anything.
real why. I mean, I think it's the real why all the time when we talk to young business owners. Why? To make a means, a means to the end, to get to that stage. I definitely wanted to be a rock star. 5 years after I started teaching, I still wanted to be a rock star. It was only after some time that I gave up that dream when I realized, I said when I wasn't smart enough to realize it back in the day, when you realized how important the work was that you're doing, that's where you start to change. Like that's where it really starts to grow.
And that's the big thing, I think. And I've said this on other podcasts. I will go on there and say my why has evolved over time. I mean, my why in the beginning was absolutely to do everything to anybody at any time to make a buck. And now my why is
A big boat.
Don't forget that truck that pulls it. Chris Jansen. No, it's, right now I have 38 employees. I have 38 families that count on what we're doing and how we're doing it. And it makes a big difference. And I want to make an
those
impact.
people.
Yeah, well, the people
What were
on my way up the top off the backs of my employees. But no,
extracting more out of their
but
wallet.
you can tell. So Jay just exuded exactly why people, and this is why this has grown, is that his why was, it was in there, but his mentality was the other way. He's like, I mean, I realize it's a relationship. So now if you grew your business, your culture starts with you at the top. So you're going through this, you're doing your own coaching, your own teaching. When did you decide to get somebody else and start to make money out of them?
I'm at a local music store. The couple that owns the local music store, they've become accustomed to me coming in there and spending my money on materials so I could teach kids. In walks a lady. Her name was Linda. I don't know if I'm allowed to say her last name. Anyway, Linda's in there, and she's talking to the owners of this music store, saying that she wants to become a teacher, that she doesn't know how to teach music, but she'd like to do this because she's married. Her husband's, I guess, the main breadwinner
That's a
of the
sign
house,
from God
and she
right
wants
there.
to teach the house. And they literally point to me across
Blues
the
Brothers.
store.
We're
Well,
staying on music theme, baby. Let's keep going.
God could be involved in this. He's
Let's go.
definitely involved. And so
God.
they send her over to me, and I start giving Linda students off my waiting list. That's how it starts. No intention of doing that, no direction to do that. We just start giving students to Linda. And then I met a couple other teachers. I liked Linda. I remember when Linda used to pay for my Corolla back in 1997 and 1998. And I thought, holy cow, this is great. She's paying for my car. And that was the beginning. That's leverage, right? I was leveraging my relationships to have Linda pay for a Corolla. I'm just going to be honest.
So let's go back to this. So he sees an opportunity. He sees his opportunity, right? Sees and seizes, keeps it going. But then what did he do? He says, hey, Linda, I'm going to give you a competitor potentially who could steal everything you just gave her. And you didn't even think that way. You thought, well, no, I'm just giving her what I can't do. That's a really hard thing for a lot of us to do, is to share with others in the sandbox. Well, okay, maybe one guy here.
Yeah, I was going to say, are we talking about others, or is this really?
Whose therapy session is this, Alan? Please.
Yeah,
Huh?
I
what
do
the
realize
Red Hot
it's yours.
said?
Yeah.
The Red Hot Chili Pepper said, give it away, give it away, give it away, give it away now.
He gave it away.
Give it away, give it away
Chris
now.
hates the Chili Peppers.
I do.
Why? Why would you hate the Red Hots?
Not a fan. I love the drummer. Don't get me wrong. Love Chad Brown.
Okay.
But I'm not a fan of the music. I know it's just, I don't know. I can appreciate the artistic talent. I love the drummer, that dude can kill it. It's a guy who played, so I played a couple instruments as a kid, but
wow.
anyway,
Okay.
so yes,
Maybe we could start a band.
we know what, I played saxophone, baby, tenor. and
Alan, do you
alto.
play anything?
Cowbell, maybe.
Oh,
cowbell.
I
We
got a
always need
fever.
more
I got a
cowbell.
fever for more cowbell. Another reference. Let's go. But
So, well, I got a question.
all right, keep going.
All right.
Please.
So you have Linda, and at the time, you're not really thinking, do our theories jive? Do we have the same approach?
Right.
So at some point, though, you've created this culture. Where did that happen? When did you decide, no, this is what my business is going to look like, and I'm going to bring people on my team that actually fit what my vision is?
Yeah, that's a great question, because when we were 6 teachers,
Boom, one.
it was
whatever. 0.
When it was
Chris.
6 teachers, it was very easy to keep that culture under control.
Sorry.
But at some point in time, you guys how much bourbon have we had?
We haven't even got started yet, man.
Not even
I'm
got
halfway through.
No, this
Wow,
is
we can't
this is
focus.
3 years of
But
yeah.
Jay, is just too much fun. Come on, we know this is going to be fun.
All right.
This is a great episode, everybody. Keep rolling.
Are you sure?
Oh, let's go.
Okay, let's do it. So at some point in time, let's see, when was there an epiphany? One night I came home from teaching. We didn't have cell phones back in the day, right? I had a business phone. I had an answering machine. My wife used to answer the answering machine at home. And one night she said, the phone hasn't stopped ringing.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't know. So I start listening to the messages. And I pick up the phone and I schedule a lesson. And I pick up the phone and I schedule a lesson. And I schedule a lesson and I schedule a lesson. And in one night, I scheduled 30 lessons. Okay, that's a lot for a few hours. And I said, holy shit, this thing's for real. Let's build a website. Let's get let's get a phone number. Let's get a business card.
What year was that, building the website? Let's go back.
I think we've built our first website in probably 2002, 2003, maybe.
So he was on the other side of the internet.
Yeah. So those 30 calls are all organic. Everybody's just talking, and
I used to run a postcard campaign. I used to print the postcards myself. I had a cutter. I'm cutting the postcards. My mom and dad were stamping the postcards. And I was such an idiot to not realize how crazy a 10% return was on my postcards. I used to send out 100 postcards and I used to get 10 students. And I did not know that was an unbelievable thing.
All right, everybody. Don't watch.
now we need to see the look on Chris's face.
YouTube right here. Go with me. What the? Yeah, 10%. Dude, I was lucky if I got 0.1%.
Really?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Back in 8.
That's really bad, Chris.
I know it is, because
that
the recession-
faded, right? The postcard thing faded for me. It became I think it was a unique card, and it just kind of worked. The picture on it was ugly. Have you guys ever read like ugly marketing books? It was an ugly picture. It didn't work. It wasn't flashy, but it was different. And we started getting calls. And so when I hung up the phone that night, the last call, or it may have been too late to call people back, I walked downstairs and talked to my wife and I said, I'm going to have to stop teaching. This is different. I'm kind of thinking this is, now that I'm thinking about the years, probably 04.
So, all right, so you're 7 years in, and you realize that you had Linda. Last name can't be said because she's in witness protection program.
Absolutely.
And did we have another teacher that you were also?
Oh yeah, we had a good 15 teachers at that time, probably 15, 20 teachers maybe.
So you had to become admin.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I said, I'm going to have to stop
Let's-
teaching. And then 6 months later, I had stopped teaching. And that was the end of teaching for me.
All right. Was that an easy transition to get out of teaching and touching students? And I didn't mean it like that.
Yeah, where are we going with this?
Easy,
Chris?
easy on that.
Hey.
There was never any
Two
touching
Catholic guys
students.
talking. We never,
Yes.
we never got
We weren't
touched.
there.
So, but was that a hard transition to get out of actually doing the work that you loved and then move to the admin, or was that something you're like, man, I'm feeling? Do you have what it takes to start your own business? Are you tired of the 9-to-5 corporate job and ready to make that leap into entrepreneurship? Then you need to check out From the Zoo to the Wild, the new book by successful entrepreneur Chris Lalamia. This book is a unique perspective on the journey into the wild world of home services and delivering excellence in service while working in customers' homes. Lalamia shares his path to success in this industry, including proven customer relationship strategies, award-winning customer experience processes, and a unique approach to training a team of service technicians to perform at the highest levels. Whether you're a small business trying to scale or a franchise operation, From the Zoo to the Wild will give you the mindset, habits, leadership style, and customer-oriented processes to succeed as a small business owner in the home services space. So if you're ready to take control of your future, get your copy of From the Zoo to the Wild today, available on Amazon.
Maybe you guys can relate, because I think one of the hardest things an entrepreneur does is realize that someone else could do what they were doing when they were a solopreneur just as well, and you're not the most important part of the cog.
Have you gotten that?
Never had
far
that
yet?
epiphany. No, no.
No, never for you. Seriously.
I swear to God, I think everybody else is an idiot. No, I'm joking.
Okay.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, my handyman can absolutely kill around the house. I mean, they can do
Right.
everything, and I use kill like I'm talking like, but they truly, I talk. They are my artists, right? That's why my challenge to them every day is St. Francis of Assisi said, and we quote him again.
Are we going to use the F word this time?
Not this time.
Okay.
All right, I can, because St. Francis fucking Assisi said, if you work with your hands, you're a laborer. If you work with your head and your hands, you're a carpenter. A lot of my guys felt like they were carpenters. I said, my challenge to you is if you work with your heart, your head, and your hands, you're an artist. I want you to be an artist every day, because what you do in a home is voodoo to those people that you do. And you know how you're doing it, but they don't know what you're doing, especially in today's day and age and working in people's houses. And so you are doing that. You were the artist, you were the Assisi, and now you were starting to spread the word.
Are you following all that?
I think I'm there. I'm kind of deep into it. I just want to know. So, did you have a hard time letting go of swinging the hammer yourself?
No, that was
No.
easy. The managing part was hard for me to let go. So letting go and hiring my first general manager a year ago here in Atlanta was very hard for me to do.
Okay.
So for me, it was really easy to give up the technician stuff because those guys were better. You were right. Watching these people do the work in the home, you watching people teach other kids, you're like, wow, that's, oh yeah. And they had the enthusiasm. You're like, oh, I had that too, kid. Hey, son, I could have done that.
I guess for me, the harder part was not the admin stuff and taking control of that. It was giving away that relationship that I had with families. I thought that was really largely important.
So you didn't hang on to a couple of them?
No, I had to cut it off cold turkey. Plus, I had the, I started having kids. I wanted to be at home with them, and we teach after school. So, when I wanted to be home when they were home, or at least have some ability to see them.
All right. So your why started to evolve. So now your why became, you know what, I'm willing to give up that relationship because my why became, I want to be there for my kids.
Totally.
Pretty cool, Alan.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that why is the definition that Simon Sinek uses.
I know. But I'm using my own.
Your why is kind of fluid.
My why is definitely fluid and definitely fungible.
How many whys do we go through in a lifetime?
I mean, I think that's another part when you talk about what we're trying to get done and trying to accomplish. And again, that impact, that Mr. Holland's Opus, because when I heard your story, I'm like, oh my God, he is Mr. Holland's Opus, because you hit it. He is nationwide helping people. And he's not just helping one kid. He's helping a kid who grows into an adult and then has kids, and they go, you know what? Because I would tell you, every kid has to have musical. And I made my kids do it, and that everybody has to have a musical. I think you've got to have that outlet, and we're missing that now because we're going to this video gaming thing. Because they've actually said that you can be a better analyst, you can be a better engineer if you have the musical background.
I've told you this story. You know about my father.
Yeah.
Very much an authoritarian. I didn't have a decision that I could make my entire life growing up, except for one. Do you want piano lessons? I said no. So the one choice I got, I made the wrong choice, and I have regretted it to this day.
I agree because I had piano lessons. We had a stand-up piano, and as a guy now who's in the remodeling business and doing all this stuff, I would tell you, you know what's going down? People are getting rid of their pianos, and they go, "Hey, can you donate it to somebody?" I'm like, "No."
Yeah.
I said it would be better if you just broke it down. You can use the wood for firewood, and we can sell the copper away.
That's awful.
It is horrible. Nobody wants a piano anymore because they have keyboards. Nobody wants a baby grand unless they're trying to show off to their friends. Nobody wants any of that. So I'm sure you see a different story, Jay, but when I see people remodeling now, they have these stand-ups and they're asking, "Hey, can't you donate it to a church or a youth center?" And I'm like, "No, they don't want them."
I can tell you guys one of the worst gigs to be a salesman of is a piano. They last too long. Okay, my piano at home is a 1925 piano. It is 100 years old this year. It has been rebuilt, but now that it's been rebuilt, it's going to last another 75 years. So grandma had this piano, passes it down, and then the mom passes it down to the kids, and now you're remodeling their houses. They have a piano in there. I say, hold on to it, give them lessons. That's what I say.
That's right. Hey, everybody, don't throw it away. Jay at Lessons in Your Home. So, Jay, as you continue to grow, you did the internet before the internet was cool. Well, internet was now not. It was cool because of the .com bust. I happened to be in consulting at the time. Hadn't started my biz. You're growing it, but you're trying to figure out how to grow it. When did you decide to grow it outside of Atlanta?
That was exactly my question.
That's a great question that I asked.
No,
Thank you.
no, it was a
It's
routine.
funny.
It was a routine
Yeah.
question, but one
Hey.
that needed to be asked. So you grew it to a certain point in Atlanta where you can touch. I guess we're. I got the finger.
That's
Can
right,
you
everybody.
teach him to
He got
play
the figure.
guitar with just one finger? 'Cause
Well, it's
he's
funny.
really
He
good with
brought
the
up the
middle.
question.
Yeah.
You liked the question, and I was thinking that should be the next thing that I should share.
Yeah.
So we're getting a lot of synergy here. There's a lot of special things going on in
How he
this
brings
room.
us all together.
Absolutely. So there's a lot of things going on in this room. We've always
Symbiosis,
built
people.
everything around people. Linda was a person. Roy
Was.
the other
Did you hear
teacher.
that?
Yeah, we don't know where she is now,
Mm.
but we always built it around people. So when the next school that we opened up was in Houston, Texas. Why? Because there was a person there. There was a person there, an old friend that said, "I'd love to do what you do with my wife."
Yeah, baby.
Did you guys catch that?
I love it.
Yeah.
Hey.
I do now
Ooh.
Right. So we started
Entendre.
doing that all together, the three of us.
with
and
his wife.
And then sometimes my wife would come as well when we'd go to Houston.
Hey, everybody, let's get swinging.
You should have been at the recitals. They were a great time. And because that was one of the greatest lessons I learned in business when that guy stole my business model years later after we started it. But
He stole it?
absolutely he did. He's
Did
one of
you
my
make him
largest
pay?
competitors. I'm sitting at his kitchen table and we're talking about the deal. You guys know this. You've been in business. And I said, I don't want to mention names. I said, how are you going to feel when I'm sending?
Let's call him Dick.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, okay.
So
Yeah,
I said,
that's a
hey,
fair name.
Dick, how are you going to feel when I'm sending you these checks, right? And because he was going to be what we now term our regional directors. We have a regional director that runs every one of the cities that we work in. I said, hey, Dick, I like that. Thank you. So, Alan, I like you, man. I appreciate that. Can I say that again? I asked him, hey, Dick, how are you going to feel when I'm giving you checks?
Oh,
And
what did Dick say?
he said, Jay, we are friends. Because I said, and you know that there's another check coming to me in the same amount, or a very large amount for doing my share. And he said, you are sharing this opportunity with my wife and I. We're all doing it together. And
Nice.
we're not going to have a hard time about this. I said, well, here's a contract.
Even better.
And the contract, I had written it up myself, so it probably held zero weight in the legal
They
world.
didn't teach you that in music school,
No,
did they?
they didn't. It's not part of the waiter, the curriculum. So there's
Music
not a
school
spot
where you
where
get no business sense whatsoever.
right, exactly. I mean, I know how to upgrade your potato chips, to French fries and upsell, but I don't know how to write a contract. But I did. I wrote the contract. We didn't sign it. And it was years later that he started his own business.
Dick started his
Dick
own.
started his own business.
Mhm.
And you know what? What a great lesson for me. So like, that's awesome, right? Because you get to learn about people, you get to learn about wins and losses, and you get to learn about what to do next. So I really don't regret that happened. I think it was a great lesson for me. It was a great way to move forward. And you know what?
What would you have done different?
Well, I would have had a lawyer draw up a contract.
Okay.
Good question.
And I would have understood what rights he does have, because as angry as I could be at Dick, the truth is I couldn't stop him from doing what he did legally. Really, I couldn't. It'd be like telling somebody, that works at your hamburger shop that they can't open up their own hamburger shop. You can't stop somebody from doing that. And I don't think, and I kind of know that he didn't really steal anything. He didn't solicit, which is the only thing I could stop him from doing.
Right.
He didn't solicit, to the best of my knowledge. Every teacher we had on staff was still our teacher after he left. Every client we had that we used to teach was still our client. So in hindsight, the only thing I wish he would have done as my friend is said, I don't like the direction this is going. I want to do it myself. And because then he would still be my friend.
All right, so let's go back to that, because this is a big one. People talk about this. Well, I'm going to put a non-compete in place. I'm going to get myself all correct. Guess what, guys? Getting a non-compete does not protect you from shit.
Yeah.
In fact, Dick's coming after you.
Yep.
And he's coming after you, and he's hard, and he is going to make sure that it's not going to work. So
So were you
worry about that.
fueled by Dick after that?
No, I don't.
Hang on, Alan, before we go, because this is an important point.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, that was huge.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because
Definitely
this is the
not,
big one.
Alan.
So I've had
What?
I can't tell you how many guys who've worked with me and now have their own handyman business. They can't even touch where I'm at, because there's plenty of it to go around, like you just thought about. You thought about the theory of abundance, right? You had the abundance mentality, and you went that way. It is so easy to go the other way and get really big and figure out how to take out a couple tires.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you have anything proprietary now, though, that
No, we really don't have anything proprietary. I will say my software. So we developed our own software. It was a huge point of growth for us. I would mention that would be like the second thing. Like, we started investing in technology. We saw the operations going. I knew what we needed. We started investing technology. Everything exploded. And you can't use my software.
But so, for example, your piano teachers, you don't necessarily have like this is a culture we want, and this is kind of how our philosophy on teaching kids.
I'm not sure you can. I'm not sure you can have propriety on culture. Can you?
No, but you.
But no,
you
I
have
do
it,
not
though.
have books and materials. So we create an environment. We create a community, right? And that's what
So
we do.
if I become one of your teachers and I want to stick with hot cross buns, I'm fine, and Chris can go Stevie Ray Vaughan right out of the gate.
Absolutely. And all of my teachers are independent contractors as well. So I can't dictate what they're teaching or how they're teaching it.
But you're not just feeding them. So let's go back to this, because then we got 10 minutes left. So you're just not teaching them how to teach, but you're teaching them. I'm going to give you leads, but you're not just being a lead provider. You're giving culture. I know you are.
Yes.
So how do you get your culture and I want that relationship? You guys got to develop that relationship with that client, that kid, that whoever's student. Tell us how you do that.
So we work on it more than anything else. It starts from the minute we interview that teacher, the minute we orientate that teacher. We do continuing workshops. None of the workshops we offer to our teachers are on how to teach their instrument. Not one of them. We never teach a drum teacher how to teach drums, a guitar teacher how to teach guitar. We never do that. They know. We teach them how to say hello. We teach them how to look somebody in the eye. We teach them how to respond to a normal, typical 10-year-old who's not practicing their instrument, but you have to go there each and every week and teach them. We teach them that that's okay, because remember, guys like me, we're weird, we're wacko. I practiced my instrument, I liked playing it, but our kids don't. 99 out of 100 kids aren't like me. I'm strange. So they're normal kids. Their mom signed them up for lessons. They got an opportunity to play guitar, drums, violin, voice. And what we do is we teach those teachers how to respond to a student who's not practicing, and that the relationship is more important. So we have workshops on relationship. We have workshops how to respond to a distant child, because the kids are in their phones now, right? They're on the apps. They're not looking people in the eye, which is part of what makes us important, because we're interacting with them one-on-one.
Oh, that's huge. I didn't even
Yeah.
think about that.
Right. Think about what he's doing. So
Yeah.
he's creating this. So let's go back to these. You got 4,500 teachers. How many have been with you longer than a year?
Oh, a lot. A lot. So, gosh, I would say probably over half of our teachers have been with us for 5 or more years.
So don't kill that. So don't worry about that one. Let's talk about this. So here we go. Here he is. He's nationwide. How did I meet Jay? I met Jay because he's part of our mastermind group, and he was in a different group than mine. And I met him at a quarterly meeting. And I was like, man, this cat has it going on, man. He
I
is
know.
so cool.
I know.
But think the way he's thinking about his business. And if you think about what he's talking about with his business, it can translate to any business.
Hmm.
So why did you decide to join this mastermind group, and how has that helped you with this? And I'm not trying to pitch Chris Hanks in the group. Yes, I am. He's awesome. You know that, because he is Yoda.
Moment of silence.
Well, I think as business owners, we learn that every one of us has the same type of problems. And the opportunity to share with one another and build a community of business owners is extremely enticing. I had an energy level that I hadn't felt in a long time the very first time I went to one of our mastermind groups. Like, I wanted to run through brick walls. I wanted to like fly if I could, because you're energized. You kind of get in touch with your why again, and you keep on touching that why over and over and over again. And what a beautiful thing. And then when you learn,
I touched my wife.
It's like, how many times do you touch your wife,
No,
Chris?
but seriously, Alan, I mean, what he's saying is exactly what that group does for me as well. Is that
absolutely.
I get
You
back in
always
there.
told me they just give you an ass beating every time you're on the hot seat.
Oh yeah. Oh,
But
in fact-
that
in
isn't
fact,
wind beneath the wings.
Before we got on the call, Jay has come to one of my groups because he's in a different group of our association, and he came in. I said, "Doesn't it suck to get in the hot seat?" And he went on the hot seat in one of our groups.
Yeah.
and he had never been in our
I
group.
bet you liked it.
Well, when we met at one of those large meetings, Chris was touching me. And so that's how come we got to be really good friends really quick, because it
like
was
to-
a strong,
He's a
it was a
handsy
strong,
guy.
kind of touch, and he's
Thank
got
you.
a very firm grip.
You know what, Smartless? I got you, Bateman. You know what? Come on, this is way better than you. Come on, Arnett. This is crap.
No, but what a
Hayes.
special group it is. And I would encourage any business owner, it doesn't have to be our group, it could be somebody else's group, but to be around other business owners. Because you're hurting yourself if you're not. You have to learn from others.
Yeah, we talked about this, and again, Chris at thetrustedtoolbox.com. I'll give 30 minutes to anybody who wants to listen. You kind of, I'll anybody who wants to talk about it, we'll talk about it. It's not my mastermind group. Again, I talk about this because people say, "Hey, Chris, how do I join your mastermind?" I'm like, "Well, we're in Atlanta, number
Yeah.
one, but the group is amazing, and here's why. When I first started, no way. When you first started, no way. You had to teach lessons. You had to put bread on the table, bro. And then, of course, when you started, you weren't married. I had like all this big money, and I had kids in private school. I had to make bucks, man, and it wasn't happening. So, but once you get there, it's a great trajectory.
When you
because-
look back on that, do you not realize how big of a dumbass you were?
Oh, yeah,
and I'm
100%.
speaking for myself too.
Yeah, I know. And I told Jay about, and we haven't talked about your story in a long time. We got to go back to the beginning of our episodes. If you ever want to hear Alan's story, Alan is an incredible business owner. And I've said this before. I'll say it again. You're the most successful failed entrepreneur I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
Alan, would you do it again?
I have succeeded and failed in both the corporate and entrepreneurial worlds.
Nah.
I got it all.
But would you be a dumbass again?
I think that's just my nature.
It's so fun. It's fun to be a dumbass. It's fun to try.
Well,
It
if you
doesn't
don't
feel good
try,
at the time.
nothing
but
happens.
When you look back on it, yeah, it's fun that we joke about it. And I remember watching Alan. It is nothing he could have done in 2008 to get out of this. There's just no way. I don't care how smart you are. You can't be Warren Buffett. You can't be Jeff Bezos. You can't be Steve Jobs. Nothing in the business he was in gets you out of this. I don't
Mm-hmm.
give two shits about what anybody says. I don't care what consultant out there. And you want to call me, Chris at thetrustedtoolbox.com. Give me that hate mail because I want to hear it, baby. But
Bring
there's
it.
no way because I watched it happen. And I sat there and I shed tears with him on this because I was like, oh my God, it's just, you're a great guy in the wrong freaking business, bro. And it just sucks. And here I am getting started and I'm getting my teeth kicked in, hemorrhaging money. I mean, I went from making money to
Right.
Every
throwing
one
out.
of those is a check.
Yeah.
No, I'm just painting a picture for the audience.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. So let's go back to Jay, shall we?
Yeah, let's.
All right. So Jay, so here you are now. What are your plans? You're going to go, Nate? You're going to go worldwide? You're going to go universal? You're going to go the whole universe? What are we doing?
Yeah, we're going to grow. And we're going to continue to grow. We're going to grow within each and every one of the cities we already work in. We're starting new cities, and we'll be in Kansas City and Arizona within the next 12 months, Phoenix. And we're going to continue to grow, and we're going to continue to help music teachers. That's what we're really doing. You know, we haven't talked about music teachers, but we're really helping music teachers, young people who have passion, right? They're studying music, they're playing music, they're gigging, and they need an outlet. And they, instead of driving Uber, instead of waiting tables, they can share the knowledge that they have that you want to learn. You guys, you know, you expressed that you'd like to play guitar, and that makes a musician feel amazing. When we can teach you how to play Stairway to Heaven, and you play Stairway to Heaven for your wife, and she kisses you like she hasn't kissed you in years, Chris. Like, can you imagine that kiss?
Wow.
Gives a great feeling to the person who's helping you
This
achieve
kid
that.
can sell, brothers. All right. You learned it.
He didn't learn that in music school either.
He did
That's
not, man. He just
impressive.
figured-
Wait, well, I
this-
had to
this
learn
cat's
music
got
to
it.
get my kiss, okay? Because this is not an
Yeah,
attractor
no.
of the women.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm with you. I had to
Come
learn how
on,
to
man.
cook. I had to learn how to cook.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We
No.
we're rock stars. Jay was a rock star. You know he's got a hottie at home. You know that.
I-
All right,
I
everybody.
do.
Hey, Jay, how can everybody find you? How can everybody find out what's going on? Do this thing.
Absolutely. So my name's Jay Maurice. You Google me, you're going to find Lessons in Your Home. But you could also just look up Lessons in Your Home anywhere. We'll pop up on any browser you've got, and give us a call. You won't reach me, but if you want to talk to me, just ask for me, and they'll transfer you to me. You'll talk to whoever's locally at your school, because we really are run locally by local teachers in local regions. So give them a call. Lessonsinyourhome.net. The lessons is plural. You can go .com. You could spell it wrong. You'll find us online.
I got to do the 4 questions, man, because I got to know. Jay's going to answer. This cat's so cool.
Let's do it.
All right, Jay. Give us a book you would recommend to all of our listeners. Guys trying to scale a business, thinking they're going to start their own business, think they've got the world by the tail. What's a book?
I want to go avant-garde here,
Let's do it.
because I just reviewed this. The Structure of Scientific Revolutions by Thomas Kuhn. Okay, this book has nothing to do with business. Do you like this? Have you read it, Alan?
Oh, I just love the voluminous title.
Okay, and so this,
Chris just went stoic.
Well, you know what it reminds me of is have you ever been to Maple Street Biscuits?
yeah.
Yes.
And then they have a question, and that's how they call out your order.
No.
Oh,
You never seen that?
You know, I've never
It'll be
gotten
like
anything
your favorite superhero or whatever. And one day it was a book you'd like to read. And so I said, The Complete Works of Ulysses S. Grant. And that way they had to yell it out. And so as soon as you said that,
The Structure of Scientific Revolutions.
that would have been a great one.
Holy shit.
Write that down. Write that down, bookmark it. It's a book that defines how we use the word paradigm now. And I love the fact that things are constantly changing, right? For business owners. The landscape tomorrow is not what it is today. So, Structure of Scientific Revolutions. We thought
All right.
the earth was flat.
So there's a business application
There's
to
the
this.
I think there is.
Okay.
I love it. All
I
right.
like it.
What's the favorite feature of your home?
Oh, favorite feature, my office, because I bought the home from a wealthy lawyer when I wasn't so wealthy, and he built a beautiful custom bookcase behind me.
Nice.
So when I sit in there and I do a call, like a Zoom call, I feel like a god, a Greek god sitting back there with this bookshelf
Do
behind
you have a
me.
lot of
You know what?
fake books in there?
I only have books that I've read, so there's like 8 up there.
Nice. You know what, Jay? We've got to do a Zoom call so I could have you go, am I talking to God? Yes, Chris, you are. Thank you. All right. Love that. Here I thought it was going to be his 1925 piano, but all right, let's keep going. No, because he can do that every time because he can tickle the ivories.
He's got surprises.
Well,
Yeah.
the office looks out at the piano.
All right. So, Jay, we don't talk about this, but we do talk about this because we are customer service
Freaks.
absolutely bigot. We're on it. Let's go.
What did you just say?
We're big on it. I'm a
Oh,
bigot.
I thought you just called me a bigot.
No, I'm picking up new words for my daughter. So what is a customer service pet peeve of yours when you're out there and you're the customer?
Being asked if I want something that they already know I need. Give it to me.
Give it.
Why do you ask? Why does somebody come by and ask you if you want more water? Fill it up.
Usually for me, it's would you like another beer? Is it empty?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Quit asking for things that we know that people
That's a great
need.
question.
Asking the obvious.
Yeah.
So I just got done doing this with my guys, and that's called because Jay and I were at a mastermind group. We had Victor Antonio come in and talk about sales.
Oh yeah.
And Victor is a god when it comes to sales.
He rocked it.
Oh my god,
Unbelievable.
Oh, I fall at the altar of Victor. Actually, we're gonna get Victor here. The reason we got Victor to that one is because I came up to him, and it's on. I got it on video. I said, Scott, you got a video of this. I come up there and go, look, you're not gonna make a fucking dollar. You're not going to make a fucking dime. You're going to have to drive to fucking Atlanta, and nobody there is going to listen to you. But you've got to come teach us how to do sales better. He goes, with that sales presentation, why would I not do it? I said, let's do it.
So you knew him
I did.
before you brought him to the group.
No, Hanks introduced him and said, Hank, he said, would you come? And I said, Hanks, is that what you just said? I said, let me go up there and tell him how it's going to go down.
Good. Yeah. He was
People
phenomenal.
will buy it from him. This guy was probably the best sales coach I've seen since. I mean, I don't know, man. I want to put him up there with Ziegler. I mean, he was that
Wow.
good. Yeah, dude.
Phenomenal.
He is that good.
Yeah.
This guy's got it going on.
What's his book?
Victor Antonio? He's got 4 of them. 4.
Hmm.
4. Did I say 4? All right, let's go back
You
to
did
Jay.
say
shall
4.
we?
Great speaker.
All right. All right. So give us a DIY nightmare story. Because
Mm.
I love working on homes, and I want to know what you did, music boy,
Well,
in your home.
we finished our basement. Okay. And when we bought the home, you guys have houses and you know your wife always wins, right? So we bought the perfect house for her, but not for me because it didn't have a finished basement. And she said, baby, when we buy this house, she did. She looked at me and she said,
It's a
baby.
baby with the smoldering eyes
Oh yeah,
like that.
absolutely.
Is
So
that-
you know she got her way.
And
she goes,
Rockstar guy.
when we buy this house, you can have the basement finished. And I looked at my real estate agent and I said, how much do you think it'll cost me to finish this basement? And the real estate agent said, $25,000. And I said, see, I wasn't that bright.
Now, wait a minute. Chris is laughing because it's really cheap, and you were going, that's really expensive.
said, baby, I'm in.
I said, it's really expensive, but it's doable. So we bought the house. 3 weeks later, I had somebody come down there. And it was an $85,000 quote back many, many years ago. So, of course, I went with the guy who gave me the $35,000 quote to do at least an $85,000 basement on a bad day.
Great move, Jay.
Yeah, thank you so much. So smart. So after firing him, we actually rehired him to finish it. And
Well, there's a little story there.
yeah,
That's
so
what he wants, Jay.
we didn't do it they didn't pull permits. First mistake. He didn't pull permits. And then the permit police came because my neighbor was pissed off that there was a lot of cars out in the driveway or what have you.
Your neighbors, is their name Dick?
Yeah. Great relatives of my old business partner, Dick. And
Richard Jr.
so they had just drywalled it, and my wife and I were down there, and we were it was beautiful. The basement was great. It was lovely. The permit police came in and they said, got to tear it all up. The contractor's there. He's like, I'll open up any spot you want. Just tell me where you want to
Yeah,
go.
the right thing to do.
Yeah,
They
right.
say
No,
all of it.
They're like, take it all the way down. So I look at the contractor and I said, hey, man, I feel bad because I knew that he wasn't pulling permits. Okay, I'm going to just be honest there. And I said, I'll buy the new drywall, right? He said, Jay, no, this is my fault. I should have pulled it. I'm going to pay for the drywall. I said, I'll buy the new drywall. I said, no. And I said, so they start taking this drywall down and the guys are stacking it up. And I said, and my father used to be, when my father was alive, he was a plasterer for the first half of his life. And so I said, you're not putting that drywall back up, are you? And they said, no, we're not putting the drywall back up.
Because it was like 2x3 strips. Or,
Yeah.
okay.
And so
100%.
I walked down there the next day after the permit guy comes and gives us a clean bill of health, and they're starting to put the drywall up. So I said, hey, we're not doing it. I said, I told you I'd pay for the drywall. No, you don't have to do that. So anyway, long story short, fired the guy. And then a year later, the basement remains unfinished. A year later, he hires somebody I know. She calls me up and says, Steven, sorry about the way we broke up. We want to fix it for you. And we needed to finish the basement. And then I rehired him. And that was the nightmare story. You get what you pay for. You guys know that. That's why you should call the Trusted Toolbox.
Don't you think
no doubt.
put enough mud on used sheetrock to make it look good?
I can. I can.
Should you though?
But no, 100%.
Of course not.
Why not?
But, well, sorry.
Who cares? It's just mud. It's going to be paint.
He talked about his dad being a plasterer. Let me tell you how I grew up. I grew up in a house where I had to learn how to plaster.
Mm.
And then I had to go work on other people's houses because my dad says, oh, yeah, my son knows how to plaster. He
Are
used
you
to
talking
hire
about
me-
drinking in college or work you're doing?
No, I used to do it when I was a kid.
Again, are you talking about drinking in college or?
All right, you know what? Nobody's listening anymore, so I'm going to tell you this story. So I go to college, and I worked in a machine shop, and then my dad would say, anytime one of his friends would say, "Yeah, we used to work in the house," he goes, "Yeah, my son and I'll come over. We'll do it." And we'd work for beer. Well, he get the beer, I get nothing. And so I went to college, and playing football, doing the whole thing. I come home on break, and he goes, "Hey, Mr. Putra needs his screen room, needs his sun porch done." And we're up in Michigan. I'm like, yeah, sure. He goes, yeah, we're starting at 8 a.m. I'm a college kid, by the way.
Yeah.
And we're off season. So I was not used to waking up at 8 a.m.
Right.
anymore. So we get there. And this is back when we didn't have screw guns and all the fancy tools we have now. And I had to hammer. And I was missing everything. It was like one to the right, one to the left, one in the center. So if you know how to drive, it's one set, two drive, three finish, right? I was going one right, one left, one there, and they're watching me, and I'm because they had me starting the ceiling. I am hungover as shit because I'd been out that night before because I just got back from college, and so Greg Putra is his name. Says to my dad, "Let's take a break. Let's get a beer." And my dad looks at me, and my dad has never had a problem with me drinking. I mean, underage or whatever. That's the whole thing about the Italian family, I think.
And Michigan.
It was never a big deal. Yeah, it was never.
True. What else are you going to do on the
My
way?
dad
Not
never.
much.
My dad never hit it. So I never felt like it was a secret. I went to college and it was a secret. Like, oh God. Anyway, so we have a couple beers. We get up there. Chris is on a roll, baby. I'm like, boom. I'm hanging. I got my head up there.
Oh, so a little hair of the dog, and all of a sudden you're striking the nails?
Dude, I'm going 1, 2, 3,
Bam.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We get done, and I'm sweating my ass off. Beers everywhere, whatever. And Greg looks at my dad and says, "That kid can hang. He can hang." I said, "That's called alcohol enhanced performance spreads."
Yeah.
Wow.
He goes, "Give that kid a beer. That kid can roll." I did. I like those guys put up like 2 sheets. I put up like 4 after that. That was it was, but back to your thing though. We were talking about, which again nobody's listening anymore. So it's
No.
so fun.
Yes, they are, because your stories are engaging and charming
They are.
and informative. and,
This one is
enriching.
This one was so fun because we finished his sunroom and then we mudded it off, and then I came back the next day and then we did the second coat, and he finished because I didn't have to finish it. But being a plasterer is really hard. My guys, nobody knows how to plaster. I grew up having to learn how to plaster. That's that's an art, and then, by the way, that art's almost gone.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because sheetrock's not plaster, right?
No.
Plaster is plaster.
Yeah.
But I remember watching my father work. He did that stuff so seamlessly, so effortlessly. Even when we were drywalling, like if I was doing a project myself, I'd be over there trying to put mud on that shit, and he'd just come over and go, "Get out of the way." Done.
You're right.
Perfect.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's an art.
Again, that's what I talk about with my guys. You're artists. I mean,
Absolutely.
they really are, and it's underappreciated because people like Jay always pick the lowest guy.
Well, you said mistake.
So the gold
You said
nugget of the
mistake.
He
day.
did say mistake.
Yeah.
He did say mistake.
Don't be like Jay.
no.
Don't
be
be
like
Higher quality.
bullshit. I would say be like Jay. Right? What did Jay do? I want to be a rock star.
Oh,
I love what I do.
that Jay.
I stay in there.
Oh, yeah.
And then, oh, by the way, I'm nationwide, motherfucker. How about that, huh? Chris, are you nationwide? No.
Chris, do you own a hotel with a helipad
No.
and pickleball courts?
No. He's got pickleball court. Jay is doing the right thing, man. Lessons in your home.
Hey,
Figure it
Chris,
out.
do you have a summer cabin up in Michigan?
You know what's funny is he pulled up to the house. I don't have a summer cabin in Michigan.
But you can come to mine and we can go fishing.
We're good. Or I'll go to my in-laws. Oh,
You got to get through the gate first.
well, all right. But you know what? Here's where I'm going to end. So you started
We
with
have one more
Linda.
question, don't we?
Do we?
I think so.
No, we did the DIY network.
Didn't we?
Mhm.
Yeah, we're doing 2, 3.
Let me go back to this one.
Okay.
Here's my question.
Okay.
When you first started, Linda paid for your Corolla.
Yeah.
What are you driving now?
A Chevy Silverado.
Let's go, big dog. You know what? You can't beat the dog out of it. Let's go. That's what I'm driving. Because
Yeah.
it ain't a Ford, motherfucker. That ain't a Ford. That's a Chevy Silverado. Hey, everybody,
Hey, I
if you
thought
learn
we were
something,
friends.
oh, you want to be friends with Alan? It's Chris at the trusted2box.com. Hey, guys, keep sending me those emails. Keep reaching out to me. I've loved talking to everybody about what you're doing. If you're listening to this still, Keep making it happen, because you know what? This day doesn't happen every day. It happens because you got to have it every day after day after day. Get up tomorrow morning and solve a freaking problem. Let's get out of here.
Cheers,
do it.
everybody.